I'm going to tell you about the 5 things that made me poor. And I think if you avoid them, you've got a good chance of succeeding financially. Welcome to Finish First Financially. I'm Goran Radanovic. Let's get straight into it. The first thing that led to my financial downfall was taking out vehicle finance. And this is a problem that a lot of people have. Yeah, we want to portray an image of success. We want to feel comfortable, and that's what a fancy car does for us. When we pull up to a traffic light and we see people impressed by our cars, it gives us an ego boost. It makes us feel like we're more successful than what we actually are. And I say that because we don't buy those cars with cash. We take out vehicle finance. That's why we're not as successful as other people may think when they look at our cars. It's a nice little tool, it gives you an ego boost. It makes you feel cool, but at the end of the day, it just causes a tremendous strain on you financially. And that's exactly what it did to me. When I was a student, I drove a 1986 Opel Monza. It was an old vehicle, but very good condition. It ended up actually being one of the best vehicles that I ever owned. And my dad got it for me for cash, so there was no vehicle finance. But then once I graduated and I started making money, I said, well, I want to reward myself. I studied hard, I've got a job now, making money. And I saw a sports BMW that I wanted. And I thought, I got to have it, I deserve it. For what reason, I wasn't really sure, but I couldn't afford it with cash, so I took out vehicle finance. And because this was my first purchase on credit, my credit score wasn't that great, so I got it at a high interest rate. I drove it for about 3 years. Then I upgraded to a luxury BMW. Obviously, I couldn't afford that either with cash, so I took out another vehicle finance. And when I added up all of the expenses that I had for this vehicle, the installments, the insurance, the gas, the repairs and maintenance, it added up to 30% of my income. And that's a crazy amount to spend on a vehicle, on a machinery that's decreasing in value every single year. So eventually what happened was the car got repossessed because I started defaulting on the payments. I was about 9 months away from owning it because I'd paid it for over 4 years, and I stopped paying and the car got repossessed. And when that happened, I still obviously owed the balance on it, and I got rid of that, paid it off, and I swore to myself that I would never take out vehicle finance ever again. Second thing that led to my financial downfall was credit cards. Some people have like 5 or 6 credit cards. They're using one credit card to pay off another credit card, and that's just absolutely crazy. And the thing that makes credit cards so appealing is that it's a tool that helps you to make some of your dreams come true if you really think about it. You want to buy some gadget, you swipe your card. You want to go on vacation, you swipe your card. That's exactly what I did. Anything that I wanted that I couldn't afford, I would just put it onto the credit card. And one of the reasons that it's so easy to use your credit card to buy something, besides the fact that it feels like it's not your money, you're using the bank's money, is that when you swipe a card, you don't see the actual money being transferred from your pocket into the other person's pocket. It's like when I paid rent with cash for the first time and I saw the money leave my hand. It was at that moment, for the first time in my life, that I was gobsmacked at what I was actually doing and how I was kind of throwing away money. I was paying it on rent. There was no return on that. And I actually felt an emotional pain. It pained me to part ways with my money in that manner for something that I would never really have any long-term return on it. So with a credit card, when you swipe, there isn't really that any emotional pain because you don't see the money. So you're more likely to make that purchase. It's convenient. There isn't any kind of an emotional attachment. And like I said, you also feel like you're spending somebody else's money. But then when the chickens came home to roost, I had to pay the credit card back, which I'd maxed out with 20% interest, and my income stopped. And now I had this credit card that I had to pay, and I had a whole bunch of other debt, and I was in a world of trouble. So once I got back on my feet, I paid off my credit card, I cut it up, and I said, never, ever again. The third thing that's caused me tremendous headaches financially was eating out. And this is what a lot of people do. They prefer to order their food in. It's just you open application, you order your food, it gets delivered to your door. It's really convenient. Some people prefer to go out. It's like to dine. It's a whole experience. They have fun. And that was definitely me as well. I also enjoyed going out to restaurants. I was never really much of a cook. I didn't enjoy cooking. I wasn't good at it. So it was just convenient for me to go to a restaurant and sit down. And while I'm busy drinking, the chef is preparing my food, gets put on the table. I eat it, pay, and then I go. And that was great. But once I looked at that expense and I added everything up, I saw that one meal at a restaurant equated to about 3 meals that I could have had if I had bought groceries. So it was like pretty much paying 3 times the amount that what I should have paid. And then once I cut that out, I'd go to the grocery store, buy food for like the whole week. So it was even more, that's actually more convenient because I don't have to go out every single day. Just prepare the food, and not only was it cheaper than the restaurant, but the food that I was eating was also healthier. The fourth thing that caused me a lot of financial pain was debt. So besides the vehicle finance and the credit cards, I also had personal loans, overdraft. I even had a card from a supermarket to buy food on credit, and that was just crazy. And the reason I got into that situation is because when I took out the first debt, I think it was a credit card that I started swiping before I even took out the vehicle finance. I saw the value that it added to my life. So all of these things that I couldn't afford, now all of a sudden I had them because the credit card was helping me. And then once I saw that the value that I received from this loan, I wanted more value. I wanted to increase my standard of living even higher. I wanted to be more comfortable. I wanted to have more status. And then that's when the vehicle finance came in. I was like, okay, cool. Now I'm driving a fancy BMW. So if I add another loan, then I'm going to be even happier. Or at least that's what I thought at the time. But it was short-term satisfaction in exchange for long-term headaches. That's what I discovered that debt is. Provides you instant relief, but then you have to pay it back. And it's a big problem when you've got all this interest and you don't have an income. And even if you do have an income, it's still one debt stacked on top of the other, completely drown me financially. And it's sort of like a downward spiral quicksand that's just pulling you down. And I had had enough of it. I said, the only way I'm going to get out of this hole is if I stop taking out more debt. I stopped and I started paying it off. And in 2022, I paid off my last loan. I was completely debt-free since then. And I can never, ever imagine going back into debt again, owing somebody money. That's one of the worst things for me. So no more debt. And then the fifth thing that's surprisingly caused a lot of financial pain to me as well and contributed to my poverty were phones and gadgets. And that doesn't sound like a significant thing. It's like we all have phones, how is this really, how did it affect me so badly that it led to me being broke? Sure, it wasn't the primary reason, but it definitely contributed to me being broke. And, I was the type of guy that's when the latest phone came out, I had to have it, especially, many years ago when the iPhone came out and everybody was still using a Blueberry. I was using an iPhone and I thought that was cool. So when the new one came out, I had to have it. And the problem with that is, trying to keep up with the Joneses and always trying to have the latest model is that new phones come out every single year. And so to get a new phone, you're talking about spending at least $1,000 every single year just on a phone. But it didn't stop there with me because I thought, well, I got this phone. It would be so cool if I had the tablet as well, so I could connect them and it would just like work really well. They're in sync, and I'm gonna be, I'm gonna look important with my tablet. And that's what happened. It started with the phone, then went into a tablet, and then getting the new ones yearly. It added up over several years. If you actually do the maths, it's cost several $1,000s over several years. But that might not sound like a significant amount of money, but that's money that I could have used to pay off my credit card. That's money that I could have put into an emergency fund. There were so many better things that I could have done than spend that money on a phone. And now I'm using a phone that's $150. I'm actually using it to record this video with. It's got like 50 megapixel camera. It does everything that a new phone can do. And I've had this phone for several years and I'm not even thinking about replacing it anytime soon. As long as it works, then I'm fine with it. I don't have to have the latest model. So those are the 5 things that made me poor, and I learned from it. I think it's important to analyze your situation so you see where you went wrong. Then once I looked at my path and the one that I took and how it led to my downfall, I saw exactly where I went wrong, and these were the 5 big things. And if you need help with your finances, you're welcome to email me at finishfirstfinancially@gmail.com to schedule a free consultation so that we can get you out of debt and on the path to build savings.